say hello to my guest, Julian Nikolchev, here at LSI 2022. Julian, good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for coming by, man.
Thanks for inviting me. Great to see you.
Yeah, I think I was excited to see you at Scott's event a couple of years back, and Intuitive was going in a new direction. I looked at your name tag, and I'm like, wait a minute. You've been around a long. You're in the medtech community. We're both from Silicon Valley area. I'm like, what is Julian doing inside of Intuitive? Tell us more about that.
Yeah. Well, I think it was obviously, I wouldn't be surprised that some people were surprised to see me at Intuitive, but Intuitive is a company that is very dynamic and has continued to obviously advance minimally invasive surgery with their robotic platforms. And it was an opportunity to join this dynamic team, but also to use my background of many years in the entrepreneurial world of medtech and have a team that is focused on new opportunities for Intuitive. So my role at Intuitive is really to think about new technologies and new business opportunities. And I have three ways that we can engage with and evaluate opportunities. One is we have a new venture fund, as you know, with Oliver Kuhn leading it, that we started about 2 years ago. We also have a business development group that has always been part of Intuitive, looking for new technologies that could be enhancing our current product pipeline, as well as new business opportunities. And then we also have an internal research group that is kind of looking for technologies that I would call sort of being around the corner. These are technologies that we want to keep an eye on or even explore internally in case or in times when they can become of importance to Intuitive.
So if you're a young entrepreneur that's out there, you're looking at some advancement in imaging, or thinking how you're going to change a robotic surgical procedure or adapt it for that, what's the right time to talk to Intuitive? When do you like to see these new people that are coming around the bend?
Yeah, well, it could be at any time. So that's part of the way we structured this group, is to have the venture group can look at any entrepreneur at any time early on, and the venture's focus, as you probably have, Oliver, is really to look at financially if the entrepreneur's idea or company makes sense, as well as kind of put a strategic lens on top. So we're financially motivated, just like a typical venture capital firm. But of course, we have a strategic interest that we want to apply, or a lens that we want to apply on it. So that would be one. At a later stage, if an entrepreneur sees that there's a relationship they want to build with Intuitive, our business development team can engage with that. And if there is a research that could be done jointly, for example, or we can collaborate on the research, we can also do that with our research group. So we actually have many different ways that we can engage with external companies.
Yeah, it sounds like between the three of them, you can reach out in a lot of different directions. Now, you've only been in this role just a smidge over 2 years.
Right.
So are there any successes you can tell us about, even at this early time?
Well, obviously, we're looking at early stage opportunities. So it's a little hard to talk about, as you can imagine. But we have explored, basically our focus is to maintain what I call and enhance the Intuitive DNA, which is always focus on the patient, thinking about the claude aims, improving minimally invasive care. For the venture group, we use the term advancing minimally and accelerating minimally invasive care. But our goal is to really always put the patient in the center and then see what technologies can enhance the outcomes that patient experience from surgery. We are keeping an eye, and we are advancing a lot of work related to obviously digital space, to the digital technologies. AI, ML is very big in our horizon, keeping an eye on how can we enhance the surgeon experience by providing additional information, giving them more insight into the surgery, tissue characterization, recognizing the tissues and the quality of the tissue, or kind of creating no-fly zones for the surgeon as they operate. Those are the kinds of things that we are exploring. And at the same time, these could be impactful in our current products, obviously. At the same time, we're looking at how can we expand and maybe leverage some of the trends that we see in healthcare as a whole. Expanded and improved diagnostics is an example where diseases again are going to be identified and detected earlier and earlier, which means that minimally or less invasive surgery is going to be redefined. When you have an early detection, you want obviously minimize the surgical aspect.
You know, it's funny. I started to laugh because I remember in one of my talks that I give, I talk about, well, what does minimally invasive really mean? So there was a time whenever that was it, and then it gets even smaller, and now single port.
Right.
And then you guys are leading where, you know, the robot is actually not needing that much access. And the penetration, I can only imagine how far Da Vinci's reached into sort of knocking down. I can remember with the advancements of notes, a lot of the surgeons are like, I don't need this. And
Right.
I think you guys have made it, you know, Intuitive has made a big, you know, kind of tearing down that barrier of, no, it's okay to have the robot assisting me. It's not taking over. I'm still a surgeon, but it's augmenting. And I think we're seeing some of that. Is there a leverage there? Is there a lever arm that Intuitive has?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, when you think of today, Intuitive has 3 robotic platforms. So obviously the Da Vinci and the forearm Da Vinci is sort of the classic robotic platform initial. Then we have the single portal. So, you know, talking about now the robot could be, or the robotic surgery could be performed through a single portal access to the body, which minimizes, of course, the invasiveness, if you will.
Yeah.
And then we have Ion, which is an involuminal platform. So actually, it's obviously focused on the lung right now, tracking and getting access to the distal portion of the lung for diagnostics.
Yeah.
So those are the capabilities. Each one kind of extends the capabilities and the reach for the surgeon. And then the question and where we see the direction going, if you will, is now what can we, in addition, offer the surgeons for capabilities that will allow even less invasive approaches. So getting down to the molecular level, like recognizing the tissue characteristics, recognizing maybe diagnosing the margins on in a direct way, if you will.
Anything else you can share with us today?
Well, I think it's been great to be at the LSI. I think this is a very interesting meeting. It's great to see the quality of the companies that we see here. We see a lot more digital health discussions, which is great to see. I think that also it's encouraging to see that the medtech space is so dynamic.
Very dynamic.
It's really staying dynamic.
I don't know how Scott does it.
Exciting.
He finds some of these great companies, and they come in from all over.
Absolutely.
So it must be the weather.
It must be, and the location, of course.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That is the Pacific Ocean.
That's right.
Well, Julian, thank you for coming by.
Thank you. It's great to see you, man.
Good to see you, Julian.